Hey guys, welcome to C2L. I'm Tommy Day.
I'm Kalpa.
Yes, and this is Chennai to Lagos. Now, today is a very, very awesome video because we're going to be talking about the time I took Kalpa to the motherland. We took her to Nigeria and it was an amazing trip. So, let's get into it. In the year 2017, starting it like a movie, in the year 2017, I lost my grandfather. Very, very tough moment. I think it's probably the only recent memory I have of dealing with loss, it was, yeah. And we were going for the funeral in about a month or two. And around this time, me and Kalpa had been together literally just about a year. And I remember I had officially now made my announcement to the family, once we had hit one. And I let them know that, listen, this is who I'm with, and it's real. And I want to spend my life with this person. And so during that period of actually telling them about this, I don't know how these things kind of happened around the exact same time. With my dad, we just felt that, this would be a great opportunity to introduce her to the family as we were, making arrangements to go to Nigeria. So I called you and I told her, this is the situation. Are you ready to go to Nigeria? And what was happening in your mind during all of that?
So obviously, I was a bit shocked, pleasantly shocked. But it was also a very deep moment for me because I had met his grandfather once and at an event, and we connected instantly. We sat together and he was telling me just everything he knows about India, and he was asking me questions, and such an educated man. And later on, we also knew that he had paved the way for us by already going ahead and talking to the elders of the family and saying that his grandson is going to be with me. And at that point, we didn't even know.
Can you believe that? Yeah,
we
didn't know.
We were going to be together. So he was a really highly spiritual man who could foresee this happening even before we knew, and made life easy for us. So when I knew that he passed on, it was really devastating for me from that point of view, that this is someone I connected with, and he is like an angel. He just came and did amazing things for us without us even knowing. And going for his funeral was an honor for me because you know how it's like you have to win the trust of a family, and that can take some time. But in this case, I was being trusted wholeheartedly to come with them, and so I wasn't sure what I'm to bring, how I'm supposed to be. I didn't want to embarrass them, I didn't want to stress them out, so I was trying to be super cautious about it. And so when I got the call, I was like, okay, of course, but I have zero idea what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to help. I don't want to also be intrusive and in your way when the funeral is going on. But regardless, I said okay. Yeah,
and a bit emotional because before this time we had done a Samantha Bridals, we had done a fashion show together. And during this time, I would post up our pictures, and every time my grandfather would comment, he would comment and he'd be like, Tom, what's happening? When is it? He would just make very funny, cheeky comments on all the pictures that involved me and her. And understand at this time we weren't dating. So it was a bit, it was hilarious, but it was awkward. Like, Grandpa, this is just a friend.
We became Facebook friends as well. So when I would share a picture, he would always comment on it or react to it.
And, for me, what I think made me so upset and really messed with me was that I felt so upset that I wasn't able to tell him that, Grandpa, you are right, this is going to be my wife. That thing, it gets me emotional till today. But I think my consolation is the fact that he had known, he had already told his family and everything. So that paved the way and everything. And so 2017, it was probably around November, we got everything together and we flew all the way to Lagos. And it was an interesting trip. What was your experience like in the airport? I think that's where your Nigerian experience begins, from the airport. If you didn't think you're in Nigeria, they will let you know immediately as you land. I mean, already in the flight I was super nervous, but Tom's family
They made me feel very comfortable. They didn't tell me, oh, don't do this when you get there, say this. They just said, be yourself. That was it. But being yourself can be dangerous in some places. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So I was being nervous, and I could sense that Tom was also kind of nervous, because I was sitting next to him, and he didn't talk to me for the whole trip. He was just like sleeping or watching something, and I'm like, this guy is really nervous. And it made me more nervous. But anyway, we got to the airport and we met a family member who came to pick us up, and right after we exited the airport, like the heat wave just, and because I've lived in Kenya almost all my life, Kenya is a very moderate temperature, nothing too hot, nothing too cold, at least at that point. So when I got there, that heat just reminded me of India, because you guys know India can be super hot, and the heat was like 2 minutes in, I was dripping sweat down, and I was like, okay, now reality hits. We are in Nigeria. Yeah.
And we spent, just a quick summary. We were in Nigeria for about like a week or so, and we were in 3 states: Lagos State, Oyo State, Osun State. That's where I'm from. And we had the ceremony in Ibadan. That was where the main thing was happening. That's where we buried him. But we had to go to where we are from to also have like a ceremony down that side. So it was very interesting because, our first time in Nigeria, we're able to, visit 3 states, interacted with the family, and obviously, past the emotional moments of the actual funeral. It was a very, very beautiful trip in the sense that, as my grandfather was leaving this earth, he paved the way for the next generation. And it was such a beautiful experience. We didn't feel any pressure. The family was amazing. They were so loving, and everyone was just going all out. I felt so good. Like a lot of guys have this fear of drama. You take your significant other to your country, and for me, I was just amazed, and I was so proud, and I love my family so much. If you guys are watching, I love you guys so much, because they went all out. They went all out and made her feel at home, and it was crazy because you met everyone. Like, this was the first time even my cousins were coming. I hadn't even seen them. Some of my cousins I never really even met before. Obviously, they're much younger than me, but it was amazing because imagine in this one trip, you meet the family. Like, there's no one else for you to meet. Like, you basically meet everyone. So it was beautiful. So what I actually want to find out now, because a lot happened in this trip, is kind of get a few highlights from her. Because coming from India is a very, very cultural country, and I feel like Nigeria, we are your African counterparts. So let me first start with family. What were your highlights regards that meeting the fam?
Obviously we have I'm from a big family, but I'm also the only child in the nuclear family. So I do have lots of uncles and aunts and all that, but I never had a chance to meet my grandparents. They passed on from both sides much earlier before I was born. And so when we came to Kenya, it was just my parents and I. So I've been, as much as it's a big family, that exists, I've been in a small family all my life. So when I got there, I was so excited. I was like a little puppy, because I saw everyone and all the children in the family and all the elders in the family. And the good thing about my personality is I get along with both age groups very easily. I can get along with a child and a grandparent easily. So I was able to just mingle. But my major highlight, the first one, was meeting your grandparents.
From my mom's side.
From the mom's side, yeah. Yes. We had already met when they visited Kenya, but it was a brief conversation. And again, they're such lovely people. They have traveled around the world, so India was not new to them. They were always asking me, so you're from the south? Is that from Tamil Nadu? They knew that India is big, and they knew it had parts to it.
Yeah.
And they knew that we're all we have our own heritage and culture within the country. And when they appreciated that moment, I was like, okay, like these guys have traveled for sure. So when we went to their place, that's where I stayed at that point. And so we basically interacted with them, and I enjoyed my stay. Like, it was just the grandparents and I most times in the house. So we would like I'd be engaged in very intellectual conversations about artificial intelligence and robotics, and that was with the grandpa. So grandma would always come and be like, leave her alone, like let her eat, because every time I'm about to put food, he's like, so where do you think technology is headed? And I'll be like, okay, so let me so like you want to be respectful, but then grandma would be like, let her eat, so she would grab my hand and take me to the kitchen and make me something quick before I get into another conversation with him.
He's so sweet.
They're both so sweet, and they're both they just poured love into me. Even when we met, we got along like this. And so I think it was the most comfortable place for me to be as well, because I had already met them.
Yeah.
So wherever we would go, my base is to go back to their home. So in doing so, I'd get back home and we would reflect on, so what did you do today? Who did you meet today? What word did you learn today? Things like that. And I loved the experience because, like I said, I didn't get a chance to meet my grandparents. When I met, grandparents from Tom's side, like I owned them as my own. So they're my grandparents now. Yeah.
It was so sweet. What about exploring? You saw 3 states, and I know that India and Nigeria have a lot in common. So like, what was that like for you? Just being able to explore Nigeria.
When we got on the mainland highway, yes, I could already sense like the level of development that was happening, and it comes from a place of seeing development happen in Kenya as well for so many years. You're able to put 2 and 2 together and be like, okay, so infrastructure is going on here. There was also like our road trip to Elisha as well. That was just a fun. It was just a fun ride, like this driver didn't care about any of the rules. He just like zooms through, like we were all just putting our seatbelts and going like, oh Lord, keep us safe. And then we went to the market once to get shoes. So just really like getting deep into the city. We went as a group of girls, so there was a lot of bargaining and stuff going on. And then the shocker was after we bought like 3 pairs of shoes, we paid like 30,000 naira. So I was like, hold on, no, these guys can't be saying 30,000. So I was so taken aback. Then I had to go back and like change it into shillings, and then I'm like, okay, makes sense. Okay, they didn't con us. And I think those were the main exploring parts that I loved.
And I think for me, the part that I always look forward to having conversation about was food. Because Nigerian food. Tell us. Because I think you experienced a lot.
Yeah. So, since Tom always says like his favorite drink is Chapman.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them, yes. What's the other one?
Zobo. There's Zobo, there's Chapman. Even though Chapman, I don't think it's not a Nigerian drink. Okay,
but it's famous there. It's like
it might be. I might be wrong, but it is popular.
Yeah,
it is something that guys will go and take.
Yeah. So when we first got there, just a few of us went to the Radisson Blu Hotel, and then
Victoria Island.
Island, and then I got to drink Chapman finally. So I was like, okay, so this is what it is.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Yeah. And I like to keep myself like open to experiences. So I don't, before I drink or eat something that I haven't, I try to remove any bias that I may have. Yeah. That may make me feel like, oh, I don't like this food or this drink. And I think in doing so, it like I was able to get used to the taste, because it was very sweet compared to a lot of the other soft drinks. Yeah. So it took me a moment of like sugar
hit.
It's
like a cocktail, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, okay, this is good. So anywhere we would go, I would order Chapman after that.
Yeah.
And then
true.
So then
some. It everywhere.
Yeah. Then there was a couple of days where I stayed at Tom's auntie's house.
My auntie's place.
Yeah, Tom's auntie and uncle's place. That's hard to say. Who have children and a whole home, and they invited us to stay, the girls alone. So for me and I stayed there, and I loved the breakfast they had made for me. So at the time I was a vegetarian, so I wouldn't eat white meat and all that. So I was okay with eggs and stuff. So they would make for me eggs and stew and plantain and yams. It was amazing. Oh, the plates were always so full. Like, I realized something, the portion sizes between Nigeria and what I've been used to is double the amount.
That's
like
why
when
they
we went
grew
to
like
Nigeria,
that.
anything we would order, the plate would be so full I couldn't even finish my food. And I'm someone who has a very good appetite. So I knew, I was like, these guys are eating a lot more than
That
we
explains
do.
a lot. If you didn't know, now you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it also explains your general body stature. You know, you guys are like big and tall.
Yeah.
I feel like you do require a bigger amount of food to sustain you. So the plates were always full. I wouldn't waste anything. I loved the food they would make for me at Auntie's house. And then also we went to this other place just between getting to the ceremony or after the ceremony, if I remember right.
Yeah.
There was a place we stopped to get lunch.
Where you had like fried rice.
Yeah.
Yes. That was actually before where we went out as a fam. So we went out as a fam. It was a restaurant. So you know, like we hadn't been in Nigeria in a minute. So my uncle's like, yo, let me take you to a joint you guys don't know about. Let me take you somewhere. And it was awesome. That's where they had like, you know, all these fancy iPads to just take in orders, and food came in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So they gave me fried rice because, like I said, there was really not a lot of meat. Dishes I could have. So they gave me fried rice, and I was defeated. Oh my! And I'm such a rice person. So at the end of the day, like, you know, people actually were laughing at me, the family, because at least the ones we went with, because they know I love rice. So they were like, this girl's not gonna make it. I was really forcing it down. Yeah, but that was my favorite part, is that when you go to eat, you eat full. Like, you leave there feeling full. Yeah.
Money well spent. You know, and last but not least, the culture. Just what were like highlights, because you come from a very cultural background, and I think I'm just curious, what were like your main things like stand out about the culture?
Yeah. Even though I come from that kind, everyone has their, you know, deep cultures, and so does my family. But when you go to a new place, like I said, I didn't want to go there with my culture and influence something. I wanted to be very open. I want to be like an open book, and they will teach me. So like the first point of learning was just the bowing, you know, the courtesy that we do.
That you do for elders. Yeah.
In like the South culture, we normally like bend over and just touch the ground, or touch the feet, blessing, of your elders, not like younger people, of like your parents, grandparents, that level of people. So when I got here, like, first introduction to the elders of the family, and I was so nervous, and I saw everyone like curtsying, and I was trying to do it as well. So like as I was going like down, it's like I didn't know how low to go. So for me it was like
lower.
My knees, I was like, okay, I get it. So next time I would go lower, and the next time I'd go even lower. Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite learnings that I got, and like even seeing how guys greet elders, you know, like prostrating on the ground. That's also what we do in the South, but like seeing such things just tells you that we're not really so different, you know, as we think we are. We still really show respect to elders, and we have a way of showing that, right? And then of course I've heard a lot about money being like sprayed during a dance, and and I never knew I would be a part of that. So there was this one day, I think towards the end, where we were all dancing, and like all of a sudden I just saw money pouring from the sky.
Motivation.
I was like, now I'm really gonna dance. Like, you wait. You know. So I was just being part of that moment of that happening, like the joy and the money, and you know, all that was amazing. And then last but not least was wearing the proper Nigerian clothes. You know, that ladies were like, that was something that Tom's family ensured that I would have, so that I don't feel in any way out of what they were doing, you know. So they had stitched like clothes for me, you know, and all that. But the funny part was like the gele. So there were people who actually came to the house to do that. Like, it's
That's
it's
the
so
head wrap
serious that
the ladies
yes,
wear.
it's not like something I go to the mirror and I do it myself. Like people, like ladies came to the house to help us ladies to tie it.
It's an art form.
Yeah. So I sat and this lady ties and ties, and I'm like, okay. 2 minutes later, I just feel like the veins on the side of my head like pulsating, right? And of course, like because it was a whole day event, I couldn't remove it, and I didn't know if it would even be right for me to remove it. But I got this intense migraine, and so I couldn't even put my finger in. And then I wear glasses, so my glasses were like within the thing. Yeah, and if I removed them, I couldn't find a way to put them back in. So they were like super tight. So every day I would come and pray that today I hope we're not tying that. But we would.
Yeah.
So I just had to learn to. But I was not the only one.
Yeah.
Right? Even Fumi felt very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Lati felt uncomfortable. Yeah, it was just the ladies. We were all feeling like,
what's happening?
I think my head got smaller by the time I came back from all the compression. Yeah, I think those are some of my favorite moments. Yeah.
Beautiful trip. Brings back so many amazing memories.
And it was not the last time I visited Nigeria. I did go back, but now for work.
Yeah.
And so when I went back, I felt like,
I know
this place.
This is home.
I know, people
You didn't
know
even tell
me.
your colleagues, let me even show you a place.
I'll show you, which is a lie. I got lost so many times, but you feel a lot more comfortable having been there and knowing that there's family there.
Exactly.
So I can always call it, even like, we visited and all that. So I didn't feel alien. Yeah.
Beautiful trip. And we do plan on going back again. Obviously down the line. And yes, so she has been to Nigeria. I've not yet been to India. We're going to document
this one is going to be
happens.
amazing because we didn't really get to document a lot because of the scenario in which we went.
Exactly,
but there are a few pictures, of course. But the India trip is obviously going to be for good news.
Yeah.
And so this time we will do is document. And
definitely.
My family is anticipating his visit like anything. They're just like, oh my gosh, when are you guys gonna come? And I know my family, they're pretty much like Tom's family. They're very happy-go-lucky and just just nice people. And I know they're gonna make him feel very comfortable, and I can't wait to document it all.
We can't wait. So you guys comment anything else you want to find out about Kalpa's trip in Nigeria, and keep it locked. We're going to be doing a lot more documenting, and hopefully we can showcase both sides of our culture in a really cool way. So with that said, see you guys, like, subscribe, and we'll be seeing you next week. God bless. Bye.
Bye.